Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, maybe Switzerland shows some balls and it's going to go its own way in what is going to do with the Russian frozen funds. The European Union, on the other hand, they say that they will use the Russian frozen funds. They somehow they said, I will stop these funds here, and they will give it to rebuild, so-called rebuild, reconstruct Ukraine with the Russian funds. So these guys are the arbiters of someone's money, but they were not put in charge. They're not legal. How should I put it? The wardens of the money of those guys, and definitely they cannot do whatever they want with someone else's property. So nevertheless, they assigned or ascribed that title to them, that they can freeze someone's assets and can do whatever they want with that person's entity's assets. Give it to whomever they want. Now, if that would happen to you in the neighborhood, you had a scuffle with your neighbor, let's say, and the bank, the local bank said, hey, Emil, we're going to use your money that you have in the bank to, I don't know, build your neighbor's, fence that you broke. Well, wait a second, wait a second. There's a process that has to be, taken, and you're a bank. You're not a judge. You're not a, what's going on? Emil, I'm not talking to you. Okay, so that's kind of like it is right now with the European Union. Plays the role of a judge in something that it's not a judge. But anyway, let's see what's going on over here. So this is the first article that I want to look at. This comes from Reuters, and it says the European Union seeks to use frozen Russian funds to rebuild Ukraine. So, of course, you're happy with someone else's money. You're very generous. Now, February 14th, 2023. That came yesterday. Now, let's go to this one. This one comes from Sputnik, and is from today, 9 hours ago. No legal ground for transferring Russia's frozen assets to Ukraine. Swiss government. Now we go to this one, and this guy is from the Kiev Independent, from the Ukrainians. Again, from today, February 15th, 2023. Switzerland refuses to confiscate frozen Russian assets. We're going to find out why. And we have even the Telegraph saying Bern, the capital of Switzerland, says it cannot confiscate Russian assets. So let's see, let's start with the Telegraph. So we have to be as, credible as possible, because when you talk about the Telegraph, so I'm going to make this right here, Telegraph, so we're not lying this time, right? Yeah. We go here and says Switzerland's government announced Wednesday that confiscating private Russian assets in the country to help rebuild Ukraine would be contrary to Swiss law. Well, change that law. The European Union's law is above your law, basically. Right, Hungary? Right, Poland? Traditionally neutral Switzerland decided 4 days after Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24, 2022, to align itself with the neighboring European Union's sanctions on Moscow. Or I should say this, hysteria. The wealthy Alpine nation has since frozen billions of Russian assets. So who's going to invest? Who's going to do something in your country? People will say, well, I'm not going to do this again, because if I'm doing it and these guys receive an order from the boss, they will frozen my money and my property. I'm not going to invest over there. So where should I invest it? Where they don't take my property. Faced with international proposals to confiscate such assets and to use the money to help, that's the word, to help, rebuild Ukraine, Switzerland's Federal Council, as the government is known, had asked a Justice Department working group to clarify the legality of such move. The group concluded that, and I'm quoting, the expropriation of private assets of lawful origin without compensation is not permissible under Swiss law, a government statement says. This is the exact thing that some people say, well, the billionaires, let's tax the billionaires. The billionaires took our money. That's why we're poor and they're rich. And I'm saying, do you have any evidence that they unlawfully took your money? If there's evidence, let's do it. find the evidence, provide the evidence, go in front of a court, judge, everything legal, the mechanism that we instituted, or we accept to follow them. When we win, when we lose, we don't like them, and then we decide. And if not, just go to work, basically. So in this case, I said this many, many, many times. There's no legality to take some other people's property just because you don't like a country. He's a citizen of that country. On what basis? If that country would be, let's say Prigozhin. I understand Prigozhin, let's say the boss of the Wagner Group. The Wagner Group is a private military company. It was alleged, it's accused of committing crimes. Committing accusation is not a proof of guilt. I can accuse whomever I want. Unless I prove that whomever I accuse committed that crime, and the judge decides that, and then it's recourse, and it's this and that until it's decided. You know what I mean? So this Wagner Group, they call it mercenaries. But mercenaries, did you have a court? And don't tell me a court in Ukraine and a neighborhood court that they decided. I'm not talking about that. International court, impartial court. I'm for finding the truth, but I understand that these kind of little courts are little courts. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm not any neighborhood court is going to decide that this is. No, I'm not going by that. It's interest and so on. I don't like this kind of things. Murky. So if you decide that Wagner Group as a group is a mercenary group and you have the evidence, as I said, then yes, the boss could be sanctioned because the boss gets profits probably out of all this, right? And does all kind of hanky-panky. But like this, let's say it's a guy who builds cars in Russia. He is, let's say, a Russian. They call him oligarchs because they don't like him. Like, we don't have oligarchs here. But anyway, if you look at what an oligarch is, look a little bit no further than Austin, if you really want. And not only Austin, there's many others. Why do I call Austin? He was on the board of directors of Raytheon. Is that a conflict of interest? No. And that's a military manufacturing company building weapons. And he was in the board. And now he's the defense secretary of the United States of America. I'm pretty sure he's a very capable person. Doesn't look like or act like, but he seems like he's good at other things. That's why he's where he's at, right? He was promoted. He was over there. That means we got to learn that way, not the right way. The right way is the one that works, right? Okay. So let's move back to these guys. So I always said it's unfair from the general perspective to sanction, to freeze someone's money without proving any guilt. And you can prove guilt by association, by group association. Because obviously, if you're a guy who commits the same crime with with the other guy, yeah, you are liable over there, or no, you are part of it. But here, and I knew it was going to come up to this, but at least the Swiss government, after 1 year, did what it did. Why? Because right now they have to go the next step. Right now we have freeze this, freeze that, and all that could be unfrozen, if everything goes down. But now you want to use it, make it disappear. Is taking my property? I don't think that's right. But as I said, at least I'm surprised that the Swiss have this power, or at least they stand by their legality. The Swiss government said confiscating Russian assets was against the country's constitution and could violate, I'm quoting, violate Switzerland's international obligations. Yeah, because when I put my money in a bank, that bank has no right to take my money if I acquire my money legally. What the hell? But everybody for a year masturbated in group masturbation. Oh, they got their money and they're going to give it to poor Ukrainians. Well. Would you like to be on the other side? Oh, stop the war. Well, it was very much unprovoked. So yes, I'm guessing you're right. Yeah, okay. So Switzerland's foreign minister Ignazio Cassis said on January 20th that his country supports the idea of using frozen Russian assets for Ukraine's reconstruction, but it would require major legal adjustments. You know what it is? That major legal adjustment, changing the rule as we go. That is, as I always say, you play Monopoly, that little table game with people, and you have a crazy guy who doesn't like losing, and he throws a tantrum, or she throws a tantrum, and then she or he starts changing the rules of the game for a particular situation just to benefit the person. It's going to be, oh, we're going to do it this way, blah, 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 blah. And if you're not strong enough to smack that person, close the game and say, now everybody, you screwed up, and create a situation out of her situation, then that person is going to go through with that. And when that person goes through, and the little rule that she or he made a minute ago, someone else falls and can use it, she's going to be at the receiving end, or he's going to be at the receiving end, is not gonna like it and say, no, that rule doesn't work. It worked a minute ago for them, for her, or for him, but it's not gonna go and work for this other person. So this is how it is right now with major things. And when are you proposing doing that? Yesterday? That's how it's going, man. I mean, if this would be done to you, you wouldn't like that a bit. According to CASIS, current Swiss legislation doesn't allow the confiscation of sanctioned assets, and a referendum may need to change this law. All right, we can't just take money that doesn't belong to us because we think is morally right. Correct. It's about finding the right mechanisms, that means making the right one, so we are able to pretend legality, so that there are no side effects greater than the intended main effect. Almost like in medicine. That's a very good analogy. I'm surprised. So the Swiss government has not allowed Spain to transfer Swiss-made anti-aircraft guns to Ukraine. Now these guys, because these are from Kiev Independent, they try to morally destroy Switzerland for not doing what they want to do, which is give me someone else's money. And they say, we're you bad dudes because you don't want to allow Spain to give us ammunition that is registered, created in Switzerland, and it has all kind of contract that you can't give it to the third party unless I say so. Like the Americans do with the F-16s and other things, I sell you this, but you can't give it to someone else unless I give you a green light. Unless you're strong enough and say, I do whatever I want, and then you get attacked and done. So here you are, Switzerland. We'll see how long it stays. But did you hear that guy's attitude? He said, we can't just do it because we think we're moral, but we have to find the right mechanism. So the idea of tyrannical way of getting the funds is, but he's complaining he can't do it. So he would like to do it, he would like to abuse that, but he doesn't have those idiots who made these laws a while ago. They were not weasels. So we have to change. I'm sorry we can't do it. I would greatly like to do it, but I'm not going to do it because those idiots made those laws. So let's change the laws for now. Monopoly, remember? Take this money, give it, and we pretend, well, we did it legally. Well, but it doesn't mean it was right. Even if you make a law that is not right, it's not going to make, it's the law. Well, there are laws that are not very well thought, if you know what I mean. So then what are you going to do? Well, it was legal, yeah. Remember, there are many laws in many states currently, United States, state laws, that, they are still committed, they still can charge you with a crime if you marry someone like this, or you, wear a knife in public, or you do something else. Wear a knife in public, I kind of get that one, but even though there are certain rules, especially in the segregation, when it was the segregation and so on, they still have them in the books. Well, and if someone applies them, does it make it right? Hey, it's right there. No, it's wrong, but they didn't repeal it yet, for whatever reasons. So the same here. You can't just make a rule and say, well, it's the law. Yeah, but maybe the law is wrong. You know what I mean? But this guy was just crying that he can't. He would like to but he can't right now. Maybe we can hold a referendum. So we gotta, hey, mass media, mass media, go and push for a new law if you can, so we can do it in the future. We'll see. I don't think it's right to do if that sanction a person for what did you do? Just because you are part of that nation, you give some people work to do. Let's say someone who has, grocery store. I mean, I'm giving you an example that, you're going to just sanction that person because it makes a grocery store that the army also buys groceries, and the public, the citizens, the civilians, and that therefore you are helping the war effort. Anyway, I think it's good what these guys are talking about, and I'm talking about that the person took the money in an illegal way, acquired the money in an illegal way. No, then it's not your money. And if you say yes, then make the mechanisms, and then you're gonna make it happen, good or bad, right? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Remember, if this would be done by a bad country, click, these guys immediately will smell it and would point the fingers, hey, that's not right. But here, it's right because we're doing it. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.